Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals. You might as well order yourself your favorite pizza, get a nice beverage, and sit down and relax because today I'm going to talk about something a little familiar. Something from the past. The year was 1988. We were in this special time whenever most of the early 80s franchises were starting to die off and nobody knew what was going to come next. We were 1 year away from Tim Burton's Batman movie. So, superheroes at this time were sort of missing in action. And like Masters of the Universe and Thundercats, they were pretty much a dead. Transformers and G.I. Joe, they were still going, but, they were nowhere near in their prime as they were years before that. In 1987, just a year before, my favorite cartoon of all time, The Real Ghostbusters, released their toy line. And in 1988, they were still going strong. But soon, they were going to be overthrown. Because in a flash, bam! The Ninja Turtles showed up. Completely dominating the toy aisle and claiming the title of the world's hardest toys to stand up right after Masters of the Universe. I was 4 at the time, so I don't really know if that's how it happened, but you gotta admit, that's a little bit more exciting, isn't it? The Turtles captured everything we loved as kids. Mutants, anthropomorphic animals, ninjas, ooze, pizza, swords, robots, playing in the sewer, gross and yucky stuff. The Turtles may have started out as a black and white, independent, mature comic book, but soon they were a money-making juggernaut. Every kid I knew had some Ninja Turtle toys. They were everywhere, and nobody could resist them, man. Nobody! In my opinion, the Ninja Turtles were the perfect next step after Masters of the Universe and Thundercats, and even Battle Beasts. They had cool swords and weapons, so your sword and sorcery thing was kind of covered, and even, for me, the precursor to the Ninja Turtles are characters like the Snake Men, where you have, cool reptile guys walking around fighting good guys. And, when you had a whole line that was nothing but mostly mutated animals, you couldn't go wrong. So I loved Battle Beasts as a kid, and I loved having, all these different animals back then. So even in that line, you had the turtle. You had the rhino guy. And you even had a warthog. I think the Ninja Turtle toys are interesting because you could tell just by looking at them that they were sculpted in a dynamic pose, and then they cut the joints and articulation out later on. So to begin with, they try to be dynamic and, exciting. Unlike, Kenner or something, where in general, their toys are very straight and stiff. Star Wars toys are like that. Even Masters of the Universe, I think, is kind of like that. Sure, they're big and bulky and strong looking, but in general, they're just kind of straight up and down guys. And the only other toy line that is like this is, before this, was the Marvel Secret Wars. They had a more dynamic leg pose. But even Spider-Man here has these stupid feet like Donatello has. I hate these kind of feet on toys. These were difficult. This was like a kid's nightmare. You'd be trying to get your guys to stand up and, of course, he stands up perfectly on the first time I put him down. But, as a kid, it was just like a hassle trying to get him to stand in place. Now, this kind of thing, the, posing the guy, or sculpting them in a dynamic way and then cutting them into their articulation really caught on in the 90s with McFarlane and NECA toys. So, I think in that way, the Ninja Turtles were innovative. Earlier this year, I was able to find a couple Ninja Turtle lots locally and fill in my soft head collection. So, since then, I've really been wanting to talk about the differences between the soft head and the hard head toys. There's like minor differences, but there are some cool variations with the weapons that I've seen. Plus, I've had some questions about it. So if you can answer any of the questions I have in this video, please tell me down below in the comments. When the Turtles were first released, a lot of the figures had soft heads. The Turtles themselves, Bebop and Rocksteady, Shredder, and Splinter, all came with soft heads. And April, I'm pretty sure, only had a hard head. And Foot Soldier, he does have a hard head to begin with, but the plastic is a lot more dull than the later shiny plastic that they used for the majority of the line. There are some pros and cons to both the soft head and the hard head figures. So I really wanted to talk about that. I was a little late to the party when I was a kid because I don't think I had any soft head figures. I only remember the hard heads. When the Turtles first appeared in Mirage Comics, they all had red bandanas. And when Playmates made these toys, they decided to give them all different colored bandanas so that kids could have an easier time of telling which turtle was which. The colors they chose for the Turtles fit their personalities perfectly. Leo is the leader in blue. Mikey is the party dude in orange. That's right, dude. Raphael is the witty and sarcastic turtle. He kept the red bandanas. And in the Mirage comics, he's also the angry, aggressive turtle. Donatello is the science guy. He wears purple. And he does machines. The only thing he doesn't do is stand up. And I also want to stress how important I think it is that they all have different colored skin tones. This really helps cement in your head that these guys were different, and you could tell who was a part just by looking at, like, you know, the arm color or the head color. And if you were a cool kid back then and you had one of those giant boxes of crayons, you know, you could use olive green for Leo, forest green for Mikey, and regular green for Raph, and I would use brown for Donatello. And I think that they knew at the time that this was really important. So even on their, you know, their promotional art or, you know, their packaging art, they would have these colors on like the VHS tapes. And they even made the weapons here, the colors of the toy weapons, which is very strange. Or even on like the awesome Pizza Power board game box, they decided to give them these colors. Even though they screwed up Mikey and Donatello, they gave Mikey the brown skin and Donatello the forest green, which, you know, but this is such an amazing piece of art that I'm okay with it. I'm willing to overlook it. And then if you were lucky enough to have a Super Nintendo and get the Turtles in Time game, you could switch the colors to the comic book colors, which doesn't make any sense, but that's what it's called in the game. And the comic book colors gives them these awesome toy colors. And then later on in the 2003 series, they decided to release them in these colors again. They released them in the Mondo figures. And now in the amazing Super 7 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ultimates line, they're continuing with these colors. You know, I love this color scheme. I'm glad it's not dying, man. It lives on. The articulation for the first Turtles is very simple. They have like a ball joint inside of here, and their legs just kind of wrap around that ball so you could twist them and get them into different poses in order to try to get them to stand. Their shoulders swivel all the way around, you know, if you can get it past the shell there. Their forearms swivel all the way around. Their heads can go all the way around, although I don't try too hard with these soft head turtles because I don't want to damage the rubber. And that's it. No joints in the middle, nothing else. That's it. But at the time, that's all you needed. All of the turtles came with the same basic weapon setup accessories pack. So they all came with a weapons rack, and attached to that weapons rack are 2 fist daggers, a comma, 2 ninja stars, and then 2 of their signature weapons. One question for me that popped up whenever I was getting all these figures was that, you know, what came first? I'm pretty sure that these dark nunchucks I have a few weapons like this that I think all came with the soft head turtles. They're darker. They might be a little bit more clear and not as like solid plastic, but you know they seem thicker than like the hard head Mikey nunchuck. And I have a few like commas and ninja stars that are also the same difference. And I'm my guess is that they came first. They seem a little bit nicer and a little bit more durable than the later one. Whenever they were probably like making a ton of them all at once. So if you know which came first, if this colored plastic, somebody once said to me that they thought that this was the movie star nunchuck, but it's not. I have the movie star nunchuck. I can clearly see the difference between the two of them and see that these are pretty much the same mold, just, you know, different quality. So if you know for certain which came first, please let me know, because I don't have any mint on card soft head turtles. Okay, if you're going down the list of Ninja Turtle weapons, you have this fist dagger, which I think is the better fist dagger. And, you know, you have some different small variations between these. Mostly some of them are a little softer at the point, and some of them are sharper. This one is the one that I think came with the soft head Ninja Turtles because it's a little darker in color, and this one is a little bit more opaque. And the plastic is more brighter. Next you have this fist dagger, and in my opinion, I don't really care for this fist dagger as much. You know, it doesn't look like a weapon. I'm not sure which people refer to as the pizza fist dagger or the pizza cutter fist dagger, but you know, this one just looks not that cool when he's holding it. You know, you can't really, if you were playing with this as a kid, you can't really attack with this very easily because you can't extend his hand out or his arm, so you can't really do much with it. Okay, so up next you got the comma, and I'm going to say that, you know, this one is a darker plastic, and it's more see-through. Like, you can actually see the comma behind it if you look through it. So I think that maybe this is the earlier one. But like I said, if you know, let me know. Because this looks like the standard release that everybody's always seen. Like, the sculpts on these are very similar. This one might be a little, like, thinner. I never really liked this weapon all too much as a kid. It didn't really seem too exciting. But man, that Ultimates comma that just came out with Raph, that thing is beautiful. It actually looks like a very neat weapon that could be used for causing some damage to some foot soldiers. And finally, you got some Ninja Stars. Now, the Ninja Stars come in lots of variants. Some of them are very soft around the edge, and some of them are very pointy. My assumption is that the pointy ones came out early, and then they decided to round the edges so that, you know, kids couldn't get hurt or something like that. So that's my guess. Let me know if I'm correct or incorrect. Okay, now that the generic weapons are out of the way, let's talk about the most important thing of all, the turtles themselves and their awesome weapons. First up, we've got the leader of the Ninja Turtles, Leo. Now, one of the best things about the soft head turtles is that there is no seam in the head. It's like all one piece, and it looks a lot nicer than how in the hard heads you have a pretty thick seam. Also, lots of times with these soft head turtles, the details are a lot sharper. And my guess is that they probably made these first, and then they, you know, made copies of these molds. So then you'd get these hard head molds, and you know, the details become a lot softer. They're not like, the eyes aren't as deep. Some of the other things too, like the sometimes the arms can appear bigger. I'm trying to think. I know. Or like the muscles can be a little bit more defined. It looks like his shoulders are bigger. And like the veins, like they're a lot sharper than these veins. Even the lines on the pads. Although the colors on this guy are a lot better for mine, personally. The original shell is a lot more like a yellow color, and then they kind of became more like, I don't know, more like of a more gold. Even with like the legs, the seams seem a lot more heavier. And if you look at the backs of them too, even the paint that they used on the backs of these guys is a lot shinier than this paint on his shell. I don't really see much of a difference between the, the belt is shinier for this guy. But other than that, it appears very similar. One of the biggest problems with these soft head turtles is if you're not careful, a lot of them get like, let's see if I can get a good shot of this. You get these little dots here. It means that the plastic is like starting to degrade a little bit. And I don't know if this will, get worse and worse during our lifetime, or, it won't really be that bad until after we're all dead and gone. But it's something you need to watch out for. You can find them without it, but if people didn't store these things well enough, you're going to get them on there. Probably in basements where it's like damp and the plastic starts to break down. Also, it's tough to, like I said, with the soft heads, you get a nice, sharper, clean look for them. But like the soft head or the hard heads, it can go either way. Like this guy, sometimes you might get like, you can't really tell, but his eyes are painted a lot thicker and bigger than these ones. The actual sculpt for this guy is a lot sharper, and he's a hard head figure. It's just a complete crapshoot. Like you never know what you're gonna get. Just trying to see if I have another Leo here. Yes. Same deal. You can't. It's really hard to tell from figure to figure what you're gonna get until you actually get it in hand and look at it. It's very difficult online because you can't see a lot of these things just by the pictures that you might get on eBay. So in my opinion, that's not even him. Pulling out the wrong one. I kind of like the soft heads better, but that's just me. Leo, of course, comes with his katana blade, or his sword. And, this is just a really nice sculpt. He comes with two, and they fit very nice in his... You can put it in a sheath if you want to. And you could even have, which is just such a cool look. Him either having them, come on, there we go. Him just walking and having them resting in there. Leonardo is my least favorite Ninja Turtle, but he's my favorite Ninja Turtle toy. And that might not make any sense, but in my opinion, all the Leonardo figures are mostly my favorite because it's just awesome seeing a turtle holding two swords. It just looks awesome. Now, if you look at the two heads here, you'll see that this one is definitely bigger. It's wider, and it just looks like the proportions look a lot better. Even here, if you look at the side, and you can see like how his nose sticks out further than this one. This one is almost getting like a little bit like a pinhead, where this guy, he looks a lot better. On a scale of 1 to 10, when it comes to standing up, Leonardo is probably a 5. Sometimes you're playing with it forever, and sometimes he'll stand right away for you. So he's in the middle, but he's still kind of crummy. Much like Leonardo, Raphael has the same kind of things going on, where you can clearly see that the muscle definition in his arms and the face especially look a lot nicer on the soft-headed figure. Like, that is such a heavy-duty seam there. And you know, the soft-head guy, he's got none of that. And it just looks great, you know. Let's see. Some of his leg definition on this guy is a little clearer. 1988, Mirage Studios, Playmates Toys. Made in Mako? I don't think that's Mexico. I can't make out the soft guy, but the hardhead guy doesn't even tell you where he's made. It just says Mirage Studios, Playmates Toys, 1988. And of course, see, look at this. Like, you might not be able to see it as well as I can see it in person, but you know that the bicep to the tricep is definitely a lot wider than the hardhead turtle. And I like the color of the shell. You know, it's a little bit more of a flat color on the shell. Same thing with Leo. And like I said, Raphael is the one Ninja Turtle that I never had as a kid too. So, you know, it's cool. You might have, like, let's see if we have like 2 soft head turtles. So, like, one of the biggest problems with toys nowadays is everybody complains about the quality of them. Like, you know, like, oh, the quality control is really bad. But, you know, these old toys, they never were the same. Lots of them had lots of paint problems. Lots of them weren't even, like, the same size. This one, the head looks a little bit more smaller. A little bit more small than this guy's. And the green is, I don't know. The green of this head matches this color a little bit better than this one does. This one, the green is a little darker, but it's a lot cleaner and, I don't know. Okay, so Raph comes with the sai, and, you know, you can't really, like, pose his hands like the new ones, where, like, he's holding it between his fingers, but it's still such a cool weapon. This one, like I said, looks like a later release to me, so it's, like, more opaque, and the color is brighter. This one is darker, but it's also a little bit see-through. On a scale of 1 to 10, Raphael is a 10 when it comes to standing. He is the easiest Ninja Turtle to stand, and I would have loved to have him as a kid because, like, I always have to ask my dad to pretty much, like, make all my guys stand up. I could never get, like, you know, Donatello to stand at all. So he would have been great. As you can see, it's the same deal. You know, this head is a little bit more shrunken in. You know, I wish they had more information about that. I would really be curious about, you know, like, knowing the actual production information. Like, you know, did they shrink these molds down? Did they make copies of them, and that's why all these are smaller than this one? Or, you know, I don't think it's a case of this shrinking over time. I just think that that's how he was. Size-wise, he is definitely a little bigger, just by a bit. Up next, we have everybody's favorite party dude, Michelangelo. And right away, I can see This soft head Michelangelo has got some spots in his arms, which sucks because, you don't want that. You don't want your figure to break down and melt over time. Like, who knows what's going to happen to these guys in your lifetime. So, again, he's got the seams, the heavy seams. This one's got a little notch or something here by the bicep, which is kind of strange. Mako. Yeah, he's got dots everywhere, even in his feet, his legs. This guy is in rough shape. I think I got this from when I got this Michelangelo. I think it was earlier, and the person who I bought it from had him in their garage for like 15 years or something like that, maybe even longer. So it was getting really hot in there over all this time. But in general, the belt looks very similar. And the Mike's got a big scrape in the middle of his back here. I just like the muted colors on the shell a lot. But this is how I always remember them. I remember this yellow and this colored shell on the back, but it is really nice having both of them. And the way I set them up in my shelves is I have all my soft head guys and like a little bit of a turtle van display, and then I have all the hard head guys a little further over fighting like a bunch of guys. So you can use both of them if you want. Mikey, of course, comes with a pair of nunchucks, and I'm sure if you're like me, you broke these very, very early. I always liked them. I wish they were thicker, because this, thin piece of plastic always breaks. But the great thing is this, the ones that I found with the soft head turtles, these nunchucks are very thick. This wire. So they're a lot, they're more durable. I don't want to bend them too much because I'm just still afraid of breaking them, but they feel a lot more sturdy than the other ones, and I like these a whole lot more. I would say if you could find these ones, you should definitely find them. I think they hold up the best. When it comes to standing, I give Michelangelo a 7 or an 8. He's definitely a lot easier than Leonardo, and yeah, you can, like I said, you can clearly see the thickness or the width of the head. Maybe the neck isn't so bad. Like, it's nice having the neck taper here at the bottom for these guys, but just the tops and the beaks of them looks a lot nicer on these guys. And I really hate Michelangelo's nunchucks for these figures, or for these toys, because you do always break it. And I remember as a kid you try to stick them in here, but that is just not a good idea because they break so easily. So I warn you, you get a Michelangelo, if your nunchuck is intact, be very, very careful. And the final turtle is Donatello. And I think out of all these turtles, the head sculpt really lost a lot on this hard head figure. But it might be one of those things where, too, it's like a quality control thing. Where, I don't know. This soft head actually looks a lot smaller than these hard head figures. But it does have the width from the front to back. It looks nicer. Also, most of these Ninja Turtle figures, The soft head is very similar to the brown. Now, it doesn't come up as well on video here, but the rubber here for the head is like almost has like an underlying black or like dark blue kind of color to the brown that is completely missing from this guy. Like that brown matches this brown almost perfectly in person, but there's just something about this head that without these lights it's a lot darker. And in general, looks like I broke the part of this belt on him. But like, yeah, like the side of his head there, it looks so much nicer. And like I said, it might be kind of hard to pick it up. It just looks so much fuller, and getting too dark here. Let's see. Nope. I got one more, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Actually, that one looks a lot nicer. That one is a little better. Still, well, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to tell. And plus, like, I don't know if this shrunk. This was also from the same lot of being stuck in the garage. And, like, I don't know if this head is just smaller or... Because, like, it looks like the seam around the bottom of the neck here is a little misshapen. Did he come like that originally? Did it melt? Did it shrink from the heat? What happened? Let me know how yours are looking after all this time. Donatello, of course, comes with his bow staff. Now, if you were like me, the bow staff was probably the best Ninja Turtle weapon because any stick you could pick up from, the side of your street, you could pretend that it was a staff, and there you go. You were a Ninja Turtle. I have seen some differences in these. Some of the lengths, sometimes they might be a little longer than other ones. But in general, most of them are pretty similar. Yeah. So like I said, I definitely think that the soft head sculpted Donatello head looks a lot nicer than all of my hard-headed Donatellos. On a scale of 1 to 10, where does Donatello sit when it comes to his ability to stand? I give him a 2. He is the worst turtle of all when it comes to standing. He always falls over, and as a kid, I could never get him to stand up. I hate his legs. And, they gave pretty much the same exact stance to Metalhead, and every single Donatello figure kind of has this stand. I hate it. Like, why would they do this? Why would they make it so difficult just to get this guy to stand? I know they're trying to go for like a... they're trying to make him look dynamic and everything like that, but holy crap, this guy was a pain. So, same thing. The head has that squished kind of look, and I'm really unsure about this soft-headed Donatello. His head does appear a little smaller than my other soft-headed figures, but it just looks really nice. It's very sharp and looks really, really nice in there. So, at the moment, for me, the winners are the soft-headed turtles. They seem to be a little closer to probably what they had intended the turtles to look like. The sculpts and the heads, the sizes of the arms and the bodies are bigger. They're a little sharper and clearer. Later on, I think, like I said, I think they made copies, and then after making the the molds for so many of these Ninja Turtles. There was just a little bit of detail that was lost in there that really helps push these guys to be on top. But these guys do have negatives, such as the very common problem of the plastic breaking down. You know, I could even see now, I didn't notice it before, but there are spots on my Donatello's arm. That's a bummer. You know, that's going to be a problem. Plus, I don't know if, you know, my Donatello's head is a little shrunken. I don't know. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions to any of these, or I'm sorry, any answers to any of these things I brought up. You know, if I was wrong, please tell me, because I definitely want to know. Part of the reason why I made this video is because I wanted to get some information for myself as well. Like, I love these guys. I love these toys. I'm trying to, you know, you collect these things, but there's just not as much information as you'd like to find on the internet. Just not everything is completely covered as much as, you know, somebody like me that I would want to find. So if you have any information for me, please tell me. Thanks for watching the video, and next time I will talk about the enemies of the Turtles, the fearsome evil mutants, Bebop, Rocksteady, and the Foot Soldier, and the Shredder. So see you then. Talk to you soon.